twin Jades of Jiangdong. Chapter 27. Beheading. That night, everything went on as it always had. At the welcoming banquet, Sun Sa was still all smiles and light chatter, while Zhou Yu personally poured Sun Sa wine as an apology. With that, Sun Sa pretended as if nothing had ever happened, and he simply smiled. Gongjin said, Sun Sa addressed the group of civil and military officials with a smile, that he has been reserving the rations for now, and if it does not rain in the next 3 months, he will receive punishment for the deaths due to starvation caused by that. None of the advisors spoke. A moment later, Zhang Zhao let out a few awkward chuckles. Zhou Yu said, that is how it should be. Whoever carries out the duty will bear the responsibility. Sun Sa then put his hand on Zhou Yu's knee, saying, but today's welcoming feast, Gongjin, puts you in the wrong. How can you bear to have such extravagance, with the refugees still outside the city? Zhou Yu replied solemnly, since Zigong has returned victorious, I was thinking of treating this as a celebration. If you aren't able to stomach it, we can disperse. Sun Sa smiled a little but didn't say any more on the matter. The people in the hall could also tell that the two of them were at odds, but Zhu Ji spoke first. Zigong may not know, but when Zigong was out fighting on the battlefield, the Protector General took only 2 meals a day, which consisted of 2 bowls of plain congee and 4 dishes of pickles. He did not overstep. Sun Sa's expression grew a little nasty again. Zhou Yu smiled. That was because the weather was warm, and I could not stomach much. Zhou Yu found something else to change the topic to, and no one else brought up this matter again. That night, after the banquet ended, Sun Sa was still in the study, discussing matters, but Lu Su went to Zhou Yu's room to find him. What you did today was too stupid, Lu Su said. How could you fault him in front of this many people? Zhou Yu was penning a letter to his uncle Zhou Shang, and without lifting his head, replied, though it may look as if I have made him lose face, that is not what actually happened. Think about it, I'm insistent on not handing out the rations and he remains set on opening the granaries. If I let him do so and there are not enough rations at the end of the year, won't that prove that he was wrong? He's that kind of person, Zhou Yu said, lifting his head to glance at Lu Su. If it's proven that he himself was wrong, wouldn't that be a bigger loss of face for him? Zhou Yu continued, if, by the end of the year, there is still a famine, he'll be able to save face, because he can say that he purposefully conceded. That way, his reputation is intact, and the Wu commandery also remains untouched. I have my own plans, there's no need for you to worry blindly. Lu Su smiled, before sitting down. I was afraid that you weren't thinking that in the beginning. Don't stretch yourself too far, and don't ride on his head for too long. Zhou Yu said, he won't be angry at me. After a few days, after his anger has calmed, naturally things will get better again. Lu Su replied, that might not be the case. This time, when we were on the battlefield, I often heard both Sun Sa and Sun Quan mention you. Sun Sa, however, has been relying on Zhang Zibu more often, so you'd best be more cautious in your speech and actions. Zhou Yu sighed. I have no choice, Zhou Yu said. Everyone understands the principle of playing it safe for your own sake, but at a time like this, if I don't do such a thing, who will? With that, Zhou Yu folded up the letter and tied it to Fi Yu's leg, before sending Fi Yu away. Lu Su was still drinking tea. Zhou Yu walked into the yard, thinking that he would go find Sun Sa for a chat, only to see that there were still lights on in his study. He stood outside and listened for a while. The guards wanted to announce his presence, but Zhou Yu waved a hand, indicating that there was no need to alert him. In the study, Sun Sa, Qiao Mao, and Zhang Zhao were exchanging questions and answers, and Zhou Yu took his leave. That night, even after Lu Su left, Sun Sa did not come for the entire night. Zhou Yu slept restlessly for the entire night, and when he woke the next day, he felt that Sun Sa was truly angry with him. After he finished washing up, he wanted to go find Sun Sa and apologize, only for the guards to report that Sun Sa had already left the city, heading to the banks of Lake Tai. This was the first time in Zhou Yu's life that he felt so uneasy. He helped Sun Sa organize the documents and books in the study, only to see a fu that Sun Sa had copied last night. After sitting for a moment, he lifted the brush, planning to finish inscribing it, but after he wrote 2 lines, as always, the drapes are open, and the ties hold them apart, he felt no more interest in it. Instead, he sat in front of the desk, falling deeply asleep. Into his dream came Daoist Yuji's barefooted steps and his resonant song, and he seemed to say something to Zhou Yu. Zhou Yu was startled awake by that, and he recalled the 2 protective talismans that Yuji had given. He had already stored them away in a brocade pouch, and now he brought them out again. Zhou Yu yawned, only to see a white robe draped over him. Zigong has returned. Zhou Yu asked. In the hallway outside, someone replied, he returned just past noon, and he said that after the Protector General awoke, that he should head to the side wing to talk. Zhou Yu asked, Zigong came here. The robe is mine, Lu Meng said, walking in. Zhou Yu thanked him, returning the robe to Lu Meng, before standing, holding the brocade pouch in his hand as he came to the side wing. Sun Sa was currently sitting alone, his expression uncertain, as if he was waiting for Zhou Yu. After Zhou Yu sat down, the 2 of them were silent for a while. Zhou Yu searched his thoughts for a long time, before asking tentatively, I haven't asked you yet, how was the battle? Sun Sa began to smile, and he replied, I was just about to ask you. When Zhou Yu saw Sun Sa's smile, he felt as if something was weighing down his heart. He knew that Sun Sa was still remembering what had happened before. His smile was nothing more than his mask, one that he wore around his advisors. Now, he was turning that smile on Zhou Yu as well, and Zhou Yu couldn't help the slight disappointment he felt. What are you holding? Sun Sa looked at the brocade pouch in Zhou Yu's hand. A Daoist gave them to me, Zhou Yu said calmly. He said for you to keep them by your side, to prevent catastrophe from striking. With a smile, Sun Sa dismissed that. What catastrophe can there be? Zhou Yu thought for a moment, before continuing, when you're out leading your men on the battlefield, I always can't help but feel uneasy. Take them with you, Ba. Sun Sa smiled softly. Speaking of Daoists, I was just about to ask the same thing of you. A while ago, did you bring a Daoist priest into the estate? 3 months ago, Zhou Yu said in reply. Did he say that my Sun family has tribulations to face? Sun Sa said mildly, drinking a mouthful of wine. Did he say that I, Sun Sa, would die early? Zhou Yu knew that the guards must have reported on anything that had happened in the estate, so there was no need to hide the truth from Sun Sa. Yes, Zhou Yu said, nodding. Sun Sa couldn't resist laughing loudly at that, and after he finished, he said, amused, you would believe even this. I didn't believe them at first, Zhou Yu replied. It's just so that I can rest easy. Sun Sa replied teasingly, you would make a great helper if I wanted to borrow you to do witchcraft or use goo. Zhou Yu was torn between laughing and crying. Since Zigong does not believe in ghosts or gods, where does this talk of witchcraft and goo come from? Sun Sa waved his hand. Oh well, oh well. Burn it, Ba. Don't you go about wearing it either, lest you cause an accident. Zhou Yu could only tuck those 2 talismans away. After a stretch of silence, Sun Sa pondered, as if he was trying to find something to say. Zhou Yu, however, spoke first. Bafu, I'm sorry. What? Sun Sa found this a little odd. Zhou Yu replied earnestly, with what happened yesterday. I was too rash. Sun Sa let out another string of loud laughs, saying, now you'd best pray that it doesn't rain anymore. That sentence clogged Zhou Yu's throat. In reality, he had much more that he wanted to say. He wanted to speak openly with Sun Ce, he wanted to give voice to those words that had been stoppered up. He wanted to tell him that, when he had been facing the 400,000 refugees outside Fo the city, and several hundred people died every day, he had also wavered. Humans were not grasses or trees. How could he have been emotionless? When the news of the dead had been reported time and again, he was faced with an extremely difficult decision. If he did not open the granary, 10,000 wronged souls would be left outside the city, but if he opened the granary, it would be difficult to gather enough rations for Sun Ce. At this time, his only hope was to explain this clearly to Sun Ce, so that they could bear the difficulty of the situation together. But with things how they were today, Zhou Yu found that he could not say a single thing. Yes, Zhou Yu could only nod. Sun Ce wanted to say something more, and he started off by asking, "The day I departed, how was the situation inside the city?" Before Zhou Yu could respond, Zhang Zhao arrived, bringing documents for Sun Ce to review. He also mentioned, outside of Shaochun city, Sun Ce has already agreed to our demands. His troops have left the city. So quickly? Sun Ce asked, narrowing his eyes. I have yet to send him a letter. Fiyu took the letter, Zhou Yu replied. Zhang Zhao nodded at Zhou Yu, who continued, I was just about to find you to talk about this matter. From the looks of it, Sun Ce does indeed need reinforcements. This is something that has already been negotiated beforehand. Negotiated? Sun Ce said, raising an eyebrow. Why do I not remember this? Zhou Yu said, after conquering Shaochun and expelling Yuan Shu, the next enemy would be Yuan Shao. Sun Ce and Yuan Shao's troops have close relations, and their territories are right next to each other. At such a time, if we do not form an alliance with Sun Ce, we will have to form one with Yuan Shao. You have to pick one. Sun Ce did not speak. Zhang Zhao nodded. This is something that I have mentioned to Zigong as well. Zhou Yu continued, as soon as Yuan Shu has left, Yuan Shao will be fully satisfied. It is best to declare war earlier rather than later on him, because we must get rid of him as soon as possible, before we can split up the remaining territories with Sun Ce, with the river as the boundary. Yuzhou, Bingzhou, Liangzhou, Silai and such will belong to So, while Wu Commandery, Jiangdong, Jingzhou and Yuzhou, and the surrounding regions, will belong to Wu. Zhang Zhao added, as things stand today, this is the best method. Yuan Shao already has a powerful army. If we are to wait a few more years, until his influence has grown larger, it will be even more difficult to shake his hold off. Zhou Yu watched Sun Ce. Sun Ce said, so you secretly made a transaction with Sun Ce. When Zhou Yu heard those words, he involuntarily sat up straight. So P is in your army, Zhou Yu replied earnestly. No matter what, our alliance with the Cao family was imperative. The first time that So P came was truly to ask for help, and we sent out reinforcements in return. Naturally then, So Ce will let Shaochun be ours, gathering his forces to pursue Yuan Shu, and to deal with Yuan Shao as well. This cannot be counted as a transaction, we are simply speeding up the process of him making good on his side of the agreement. Sun Ce replied, I was not yet finished with thinking over the consequences. In the future, don't randomly promise him things. Zhou Yu did not speak. Sun Ce's expression was already not pretty to look at. Right now, in the city of Shaochun, Sun Ce's army had already left. It was an evidently magnanimous gesture for him to offer up the entire city to the Wu troops. What was there left to say? You're not sending the troops out? Zhou Yu asked. Sun Ce replied impatiently, I need to think this through carefully. There was no way for Zhou Yu to keep discussing. He comforted himself that right now, Sun Ce simply had too many qualms about this, he needed to discuss with the advisors first before coming to a decision. That was very normal. Zhang Zhao spoke. When will Elder Qiao's treasured daughters be sent here for the wedding? If it will be soon, we will need to make preparations ahead of time. Zhou Yu's forehead wrinkled again. Sun Ce remembered, and he said to Zhou Yu, Xiao Xian said that he would marry his 2 daughters to the 2 of us. When Zhou Yu heard these words, he simply replied with, let's talk about that later. Sun Ce added, De Qiao and Xiao Qiao. Without saying a single word in response, Zhou Yu stood and left. Sun Ce, his face set in an expression of astonishment, sent Zhou Yu off with his eyes. From that day on, the estate felt as if it was preparing for the arrival of a great enemy, the atmosphere within both anticipatory and nervous. Sun Ce's temper seemed to have been forcefully twisted in the span of a single night, because as soon as everyone saw Zhou Yu, they would simply nod and move out of their way to avoid him. The autumn air was fresh and crisp, but the severe drought continued. As expected, after autumn fell, So Sa and Yuan Shu's territories had never-ending disputes with each other, all the way to the end of autumn. The rations at Wu Commandery were running out, and only the 2,000 or so qing of farmland on the banks of Lake Tai were able to harvest rice from the late harvest. And outside, past the outskirts of the city, not a single blade of grass was able to survive. Even the people of Wu Commandery had begun to grow nervous, and the rumors began to spread. They said that it was because the Sun family had killed too many, and after taking up residence in the Wu Commandery, they had brought disaster to the Jiangdong region. There were even rumors that Sun Ce's birth and temperament were all very akin to that hegemon 800 years ago who had taken his own life on the banks of the Wu River, Xiangyu. There were even people who said that Sun Ce was the reincarnation of Xiangyu, who sought revenge for the sons of Jiangdong not sending out troops back then as reinforcements. They said his resentment clung to him, because he plunged the people into the depths of suffering. The rumors spread further and further, and Zhou Yu had no choice but to send people to the surrounding cities to buy grain. But even the Jiangnan and Yangzhou regions had run out of stored rations as well. Lu Su brought money with him back to Shu County, managing to amass 8,000 stones worth of grain, which resolved the immediate fire singeing their eyebrows. Sun Ce grew more and more explosive in temper with every day that he stayed at the estate, and no one dared to cross him. But what Zhou Yu was most worried about was still the plague. As soon as there were a great number of people dying of starvation, the chance of a plague being started increased. As expected, a while later, the plague arrived. The first to fall were citizens from within the city, and from there, the number of people who had been struck ill increased in number. Zhou Yu swiftly went forth to take their pulses, but just as he was about to seek out a renowned doctor to offer his services in the city, rumors spread amongst the citizens that an immortal had come to the city, and was brewing medicine for the mortal realm in the dead of the night. But before Zhou Yu could seek out the source of those rumors, the news spread to the prefect's manor. Do not let this news come to Zigong's ears, Zhou Yu said. Zhou Yu temporarily suppressed the news, to prevent them from adding oil onto the fire. Several more days passed, and the plague in the city actually began to lessen in severity. There was no more news of the medicine maker either, but slowly, the plague situation in the city came under control, and even the citizens that had sickened slowly began to heal. It was only then that Zhou Yu sorted out the situation of the past few days. As he passed by the main hall, however, he heard Sun Ce inside, currently in a fit of rage. Zhou Yu walked in, raising his hand slightly towards the guard. The guard, as if he had been granted amnesty, took his leave. What's going on? Zhou Yu asked. Sun Ce looked at Zhou Yu, and a moment later, said, I want it to be investigated clearly, who exactly is the one spreading the rumors that I am the catastrophe. Zhou Yu replied, the catastrophe has already been dealt with. A few days ago, there was a small outbreak of the plague, but it is already under control. One person knelt in front of Sun Ce. With a glance, Zhou Yu knew that it was one of the citizens of the city, and he continued, but those are all nothing more than rumors spread by the ignorant masses. Why stoop to the same level as them? Go back, Ba. That resident hurriedly kowtowed in thanks for his life being spared, and he left. They say I am the incarnation of the Tai Sui star, Sun Sa said. Wherever I go, I bring catastrophe. Zhou Yu did not respond to that, instead asking, does Xiao Chun have excess rations to relieve the disaster? What did General Huang Gai say? It was all squandered away by Yuan Shu, Sun Sa replied, sitting back heavily and sighing. The rations and treasures that he could not bring with him, he set it all ablaze, leaving not a single trace. What about Cao Cao's side? Zhou Yu asked. Yes, city has rations, but not enough stored to accommodate our needs as well, Sun Sa said in reply. Count the troops, I want to set out to battle. To where? Zhou Yu's forehead was furrowed deeply. Sun Sa replied, to steal rations. Zhou Yu said, you are the Zigong, the master of Wu commandery. You are not a mountain bandit, how can you go around everywhere committing robberies? Sun Sa asked in reply, then what do you think we should do? The two of them remained at a stalemate, in the hall. Sun Sa seemed to have long since forgotten that in the beginning, if Zhou Yu hadn't adamantly refused to open the granary and relieve the disaster, then the entire city would have descended into starvation so great that the people would be eating each other. I had Zijing return to Shu County, Zhou Yu said in reply, to transfer a shipment of grain over. If we go through it sparingly, we'll be able to hold out until the third month of the coming year. Sun Sa continued to walk outside. Zhou Yu asked, you're still going? I'm going out to take a walk, I need a break, Sun Sa said. Sun Sa mounted his horse. Zhou Yu had no choice but to follow. Sun Sa went out to patrol the city. The refugees outside the city were so starved that they were just skin and bones, and they looked like walking skeletons. The situation within Wu commandery was slightly better, and there was still rice and flour being sold in the markets, but their prices had skyrocketed. Sun Sa went through the market and ordered that several people be seized and locked up in prison, only to feel even more stifled anger. When he came to the eastern market in front of the city gates, his anger seemed to have died down, and he smiled as he said to Zhou Yu, hey, even the heavens themselves are against me. Zhou Yu replied, Zijing should return in the next few days, and the situation may change for the better then. They reined their horses to a stop out in the front of the city. Sun Sa saw a crowd gathering in the market, and he asked alertly, what's going on? When Zhou Yu saw the crowd gathering, his heart thumped, thinking that whatever was going on, it best not poke Sun Sa's sore spot right now. But the news spread from 1 ear to 10, and 10 to 100, and soon the entire city's residents were flooding to the eastern market. A yellow-robed Daoist priest, dressed in a Daoist robe of the 7 stars, holding a rusted sword and a copper bell in his hands, stood on the tall platform, currently praying for rain for the entire city. Sun Sa's troops rushed into the crowd, immediately causing a disturbance. Zigong. Zhou Yu frowned. You must not inflame the public right now, you must pacify them first. It's you, isn't it? Sun Sa chuckled coldly, completely ignoring Zhou Yu's advice, pointing at that yellow-robed Daoist with his staff. Spreading rumors, and leading the people astray. You all. Sun Sa's expression immediately changed, only because he found that Zhang Zhao, Lu Fan, and the rest of them were also at the market. Zigong, calm your rage, Zhou Yu hurriedly said. Zigong, please calm your rage. Zhang Zhao and the rest of them came forward to greet him. Sun Sa, however, did not dismount, instead looking down at Yu Ji arrogantly. Yu Ji smiled slightly, before rolling up his sleeves and nodding at Sun Sa. Yu Ji Daozang came 1 month ago, crossing from Kuiji into Wu County, Zhang Zhao said. He has been curing the illnesses of the residents in the region, and has been following the Taiping Jin to save the suffering citizens. Because he is worried about the troubles the city is facing, he is willing to cast spells on Zigong's behalf to pray for the fortune of the citizens. Utter nonsense. Sun Sa roared, growing increasingly incensed the more he heard. Seize him. The residents flew into an uproar at that, all of them stepping out from within the crowd to kneel on the ground, begging for mercy on Yuji's behalf. In less than the time of one stick of incense, tens of thousands of citizens were kneeling on the ground. Zhou Yu thought to himself, this was not good. Sun Ce could be persuaded, but not forced, and these actions would only serve to steel his heart further in exiling Yuji. Yuji finally spoke, saying, "Little hegemon, do you have your protective talismans on you? Why does resentment lie so thick on you?" Not a single sound could be heard from their surroundings. Sun Ce's expression had grown so nasty it could not get any nastier. He breathed in deeply a few times, his left hand holding his weapon trembling incessantly, as if at any moment, he would use his staff to smash the top of Yuji's skull in. Right after, Zhou Yu reached out a hand and placed it on top of the staff, his soft force diffusing Sun Ce's harsh, hard force. "Seize him," Sun Ce said. That night, everyone was asking for mercy on behalf of Yuji, who had been thrown into the dungeons. Sun Ce, however, simply ignored all of them, before finally shutting his advisors outside. When Zhou Yu arrived, a group of people were standing outside the doors. "I warned Yuji Daozang," Zhou Yu said. "I told him not to come back." Zhang Zhao replied, "The people of Wu County are already close to boiling over with anger. If Yuji is imprisoned as well, that will be a truly unwise decision. Gongjin, you have to think of a way." A commotion came from inside, and Zhou Yu knew that Sun Ce must have heard. "Everyone, please return to your rooms." Zhou Yu did not promise to ask for mercy on Yuji's behalf, and the group of advisors dissipated just like that. Zhou Yu pushed the door open and went in. Sun Ce was sitting alone at the table, drinking on his own. "Little hegemon," Sun Ce smiled mockingly, quirking one side of his mouth up. "Is he cursing me to commit suicide on the banks of the Wu River?" Zhou Yu sat down in front of Sun Ce, taking away his wine, replacing it with a pot of tea. He said, "Ever since we were children, I have never asked you for anything. As of today, I will have to ask one thing of you." "Speak," Sun Ce said coldly. "Keep these with you," Zhou Yu said, pulling out the protective talismans. "Let Yuji go ba. I won't try to reason with you. I simply implore that you will fulfill this wish of mine." There was a sudden crash as Sun Ce overturned the entire table, roaring angrily, "You also believe what he's saying, don't you? Old wives' tales. The entirety of the Jiangdong region is in a severe drought, you think that I could have caused that?" Sun Ce had never been so furious at Zhou Yu before, and because of that, Zhou Yu immediately froze. This was completely beyond his expectations. "I thought you would say," Sun Ce said, starting to chuckle as he watched Zhou Yu, "that you would tell me not to take it to heart, and you would sit with me for the night. This isn't like you, Zhou Gong Jin." "I wasn't," Zhou Yu instantly understood. Perhaps, Sun Ce had been like him from before, and all that he had been hoping for was that Zhou Yu would shoulder the burden with him, rather than trying to find a means to an end. But those words had already left his mouth. It was already too late. "Wait, Bafu," Zhou Yu said, racing after Sun Ce. Sorry, Bafu, I'm sorry." Zhou Yu held Sun Ce's hand, while Sun Ce stood in the courtyard. "Think of it as a joke," Zhou Yu said, smiling. He walked forward and slung an arm around Sun Ce's shoulder, moving to hug him, only for Sun Ce to shove him roughly aside. Zhou Yu grew uneasy again, and he watched Sun Ce as if he was a youth who had done something wrong. "Let him go," Zhou Yu said. "Not for the sake of whatever will of the heavens, or whatever omen, but instead because he cured the people's illnesses and saved them. For that, sparing his life will make the people think that you are kind and magnanimous." "Kind and magnanimous," Sun Ce said coldly. "When I spared Su Gong's life, you said that too." Zhou Yu stopped speaking. Sun Ce continued, Others asking for mercy on his behalf is one thing, but since you have asked for mercy, Yu must be killed. Zhou Yu's heart chilled at that. Sun Sa said, tomorrow morning, the execution will be carried out. I, for one, want to see what retribution the heavens will visit upon me. End chapter. Twin Jades of Jiangdong. Chapter 28. Guandu. This night was incomparably humid, and both Zhou Yu and Sun Sa were covered in sweat. Sun Sa shut the gate to the yard. Zhou Yu stood outside for a while, before saying, Bafu, listen to one piece of advice from me. There was no response from inside, and Zhou Yu let out a breath. His hair was so wet that it stuck to his neck, and he knew that at this moment, Sun Sa was very irritated. Actually, I still like it when you treat me like this, when you get angry at me, Zhou Yu said. Even if it means you and I fight it out, it's better than you smiling all the time. Yuji. Why don't you think about it some more? What purpose is there in killing him? Will the heavens send down rain then? Zhou Yu fell silent for a moment, before turning and leaving. Towards the latter half of the night, Wu Commandery was like a giant steamer, the sky dark and overbearing. Zhou Yu rose from his bed and left the governor's manor, arriving at the prison. Protector General Zhou, the guards hurried to bow. Zhou Yu lifted a hand, gesturing for them to temporarily step aside. He walked into the hallway, torches had been lit inside, and Yuji sat in a corner, lazily picking out lice. Zhou Yu, why did you come back? To cure illnesses and save people, Yuji said carelessly. I had no choice but to come back. I don't have the same heart you do to be completely indifferent as your citizens die. Zhou Yu knelt, kowtowing to Yuji, before saying, on behalf of the people in the city, I thank Daozang for saving their lives. Yuji rose and said, leave quickly, while there's still time. Zhou Yu's heart thumped again. Under the flickering firelight, Zhou Yu hesitated. Yuji added, the tiger of Jiangdong is enveloped in resentment. I'm afraid that you will not come to a good end. Daozang's words are harsh, Zhou Yu said. Since you have already determined my fate, Gongjin will naturally not care. People will die, that is how it has always been. What of it then? Then why are you saving me? Yuji smiled, tugging his ear. Daozang has put an end to a plague, Zhou Yu replied. And you are not the one who has disseminated the rumors, so naturally you should be saved. Zhou Yu brought the keys and opened the door to the cell, before gesturing. If you please. Yuji replied, Protector General, listen to a piece of advice from me instead. Go ba, I'll tell you something. It is easy to dodge the blows of a spear in the light, but hard to block an arrow in the dark. Zhou Yu's forehead furrowed, not understanding what he meant, but just as he was about to ask, Yuji chuckled again and said, why don't you take a look outside the prison first? Zhou Yu turned and headed up along the stairwell. The sky was faintly brightening, and there was a dim layer of dew collected on the leaves. In the darkness before dawn, a single person stood under the great tree, his back against the trunk. His expression was one of resentment. It was Sun Sa. I knew that you would come, Sun Sa said coldly. As of now, in this estate, evidently no one thinks anything of my authority anymore. Zhou Yu lowered his eyes, dropping his hands and remaining silent in response. When the sun rose, a hubbub arose from the market. Sun Sa's guards had Yuji all trussed up, and they pushed him to the entrance of the eastern market. All of you, listen up. Sun Sa shouted. If I kill this evil deist, the heavens will send down the rain. Do you all believe it or not? Almost all the residents of the city had come, and the silence was near horrifying. Zhou Yu had been barred outside and he did not dare to watch any longer. Yuji began to laugh, saying, Sun Bafu, your destiny is filled with ups and downs, and tribulations are fated to be in your life. The people that follow you are truly pitiful, because they are destined to wander for their entire lives? Listen to a word of advice from me, disband your troops, pack your bags and go back to your hometown. That is the right course for you to take. Sun Ce was still raging away in the market. The whip cracked through the air and Zhou Yu turned to leave, unable to watch any longer. A long time later, there were 3 thundering drum beats from the market in the distance. The last thud shook the world, accompanied by a clamoring uproar from hundreds of citizens. Zhou Yu's eyes were shut tight and his body spasmed at that, before he let out a long breath. That afternoon, the drought persisted. Not a drop of water fell from the sky, and even those in the governor's manor were about to start having gruel for their meals. Sun Ce sat alone in the hall, drinking wine. When Zhou Yu passed by, he heard a commotion from inside. The wine pitcher and the cups of tea were scattered all over the floor. Sun Ce was exhausted, and he leaned against the pillar in the corridor, staring with his drunken, reddened eyes at the sky. So P came to Zhou Yu to bid farewell. It was time for him to return. What did he say? Zhou Yu asked. So P replied, Your Zigong said that he cannot send troops. Right now, the rations are in short supply, and if this starvation continues, it's very likely that the men will mutiny. My dad's side also looks precarious, so I have to go back first. Sun Quan and So P came over together, and Sun Quan said, I want to go to Pei County with Zion. You cannot. Zhou Yu said. You must remain here. With that, Sun Quan and So P bid farewell longingly. Zhou Yu walked through the estate, only to find that many of the advisors were not there. There was only Zhang Zhao, still taking care of issues with the troops, and Lu Su, who was in the yard feeding the fish. Are you leaving? Lu Su asked, glancing at Zhou Yu. Zhou Yu replied, I'm not leaving, unless he shoos me away. Where are the rest of the advisors? Lu Su said, if this drought persists, people will start to eat each other in the city. So Sa also has it hard on his end. Today, Zigong told everyone to disperse first and find their own paths to walk. Right now, there's only you, me, Zibu Xiang, and Lu Meng left. Zhou Yu let out a long breath. After Sun Quan finished seeing So P off, he came back. Gongjin Ji. But just as Sun Quan started to speak, Zhou Yu stopped him. Right now, you can't go anywhere, Zhou Yu said. You must remain in the Wu Commandery, at your brother's side. If he doesn't leave, no one can leave. Sun Quan could only nod and say in reply, I originally wanted to go home to visit my mother. Shu County should still be all right, Zhou Yu said soothingly. Go check on your brother. Don't go, Lu Su said. He's in a bad mood. He's currently drinking. Zhou Yu, what is it now? Lu Su said, news came from Xiaopi the day before yesterday, when Lu Bu sent an envoy to ask for aid. So Sa attacked Suzhu, and Lu Bu ran instead of fighting back. So P left after seeing the messenger arrive. Zhou Yu put down the documents he was looking over, walked through the corridor, and arrived outside of the main hall. Fiyu was hopping between jugs of wine, and the floor was covered in wine. Sun Ce leaned against a pillar. Both of them were drenched in sweat from the humidity. Lu Bu is dead, Sun Ce said. When Zhou Yu heard that, he felt as if he had been hit by lightning. He bent over and slowly picked up a cloth strip on the floor, on which was written Lu Bu's bloody plea for help. Fiyu was in the Cao troops' camp, Sun Ce said. Lu Bu charged out to try and break through the encirclement, but it didn't work, so he retreated. 3 days ago, his subordinates sold him out, and in the end he was executed by Cao Ce. Sun Ce kicked the wine jug again, and there was another series of shattering sounds. Say, will there come a day when I'm like that? Sun Ce asked tiredly. Leave ba, all of you leave. You too, leave. Get up, Zhou Yu said, yanking the collar of Sun Ce's robes. Get up. Sun Ce staggered as he was thrown into the garden. Zhou Yu said, Do you only possess this little backbone? Don't beat me up, Sun Sa said to Zhou Yu, straightening up unhappily. If you knock me out flat on the ground, the people in the city will mutiny, and you won't be able to stop it even if you try. Just as Zhou Yu was about to raise a fist and send it flying towards Sun Sa's face to give him a sound beating, there was suddenly an explosion, and the two of them stopped in their tracks. Zhou Yu raised his head, only to see a flash of lightning streak across the sky like a wild dragon. The dark clouds flashed internally with light, and he subconsciously let go of Sun Sa. In an instant, a torrential rain began to fall, completely drenching the two of them. In that instant, the entire city shook with joyous cries. The rain fell harder and harder, as if it was trying to pour the rain from the past year into the city all at once. Lightning flashed wildly, and all around them were ear-splitting shouts of joy. Thousands of people in the Wu commandery knelt, sobbing loudly, as a white veil rose between the heavens and the earth. Zhou Yu looked pitifully drenched, but he began to chuckle. That chuckle turned into loud laughter, as he found it difficult to restrain his excitement. He moved to hug Sun Sa, only for Sun Sa to say something amidst that pouring rain. Zhou Yu immediately froze, thinking that he had heard wrong. It's time for you to take your punishment, Sun Sa said, smiling. Did you forget what you yourself said? 3 days later, the rain had lessened somewhat. The entirety of the Wu commandery seemed to have come back from the dead, and the city gates were wide open as on the outskirts, and on the banks of Lake Tai, they began to rush to sow the late crop of rice. Sun Sa threw open the doors to the granary, sending out what little left they had of the rations. The rain kept falling, but thankfully there was no threat of a flood. The flood discharge system around the Wu commandery had been extremely well designed, and most of the water was diverted into Lake Tai. The governor's estate recovered its previous state, but this time, the only thing that was different was Zhou Yu. Do you submit wholly? Sun Sa asked, smiling. Zhou Yu nodded. A group of advisors sat in the hall, each of them with heavy expressions. You are exempt from your punishment, Sun Sa said. Go take care of Danyang for me. Set out soon. In the evening 3 days later, Wu commandery was thriving. The dirt outside the city was wet, fresh water droplets clinging to it. All of the residents of the city flooded out of the gates, rushing to plow the ground. A faint smear of crimson appeared on the horizon, and when Zhou Yu turned back to look, his eyes reflected the brilliant red, like the giant fires of Chibi that filled the sky. He thought that one person would be standing on the city walls, seeing him off, but no one was there. Lu Su led his horse out of the city. Zhou Yu said, just to hear Ba. Lu Su said, yesterday night, he mentioned it to Zhang Zibu. What did he say about me? Zhou Yu took back his horse's reins unconcernedly, watching the maples along the sides of the road. Lu Su replied, he said that you don't know how to govern, so he's having you leave for a bit. It's not a bad choice. Both of you should rest a bit, don't fight anymore. I do indeed not know how to govern, Zhou Yu replied mildly. Not only do I not know how to govern, I also do not know how to be a decent human. Lu Su began to smile, and he replied, after all, he is the Zigong. Look, I mentioned this to you before, now you understand, don't you? Zhou Yu replied, what he wants is no more than a loyal minister, not someone who will argue back against him and go against his wishes. This is not something I can do. Don't be so surly, Lu Su said. Whatever he tells you to do, just do it. If he says something wrong, just listen. You think he doesn't understand when he's wrong? He knows better than anyone else, so what's the point? I'm leaving, Zhou Yu said. It's time for me to take up my post. Travel safely, Lu Su said. Zhou Yu led his troop of less than 400 people onto the western road, heading into the dense forest of maples. Autumn passed and winter came. The governor of Danyang retired from his position, and on the very first day that Zhou Yu arrived in Danyang, he received the letter of resignation as the entire city's officials welcomed him respectfully. When was this written? Zhou Yu asked as he changed his robes. Responding to the Lord Governor, one of his subordinates said respectfully, when General Sun conquered Shaochun, this document had already been composed. Zhou Yu, all of you, take your leave ba. His subordinates all took their leave. Zhou Yu straightened his robes, looking at the warrant of appointment in that silent study as he lost himself in his thoughts. The warrant was stamped with the clear seal of the Poli general, bright red like blood. Tell me earlier, Zhou Yu said lightly. Or do you think me a fool? Zhou Shang had already retired and returned to his hometown, so Zhou Yu took over the burden of Danyang. Fact was the city, after being governed by Zhou Shang for so many years, was already running as smoothly as clockwork. There was no need for him to worry too much either, and as long as there was no rebellion, things would be fine. Compared to how Wu Commandery had starved for an entire summer, Danyang still had sufficient rice and flour. Zhou Yu also transferred some land taxes to Wu County, where Sun Sa was as support, but he didn't get a reply for many days. In the end, a foot soldier was sent back, saying that Zigong understood and would deal with it accordingly. The messenger also brought over the qin that Zhou Yu hadn't brought with him when he came, and the specific order that it was Zigong who had Lu Su dig it out to be brought and handed over to Governor Zhou. There was no news from Wu County, but someone arrived from Shaochun. It was Huanggai. Zhou Yu was playing the qin in the hall, understanding that Sun Sa's meaning was for him to rest well, to play the qin more and drink wine, to fuss less and cause less trouble. Ever since the beginning, I thought that he would send someone to guard Danyang, but I didn't expect it'd be you, Huanggai said as soon as he sat down at the table. What's this I hear about Wu County not being at peace? It's all been suppressed, Zhou Yu said. I was sent away. Oh? Why so? Huanggai asked. Zhou Yu smiled, reaching out as he did to wipe away the dust on the qin. He replied, I have exceeded my authority to deal with a situation, executed first and reported later, defied my Zigong's orders, and roused the public's anger. If he did not send me away, the advisors and the citizens alike would probably no longer agree to my governance. Huanggai chuckled coldly a few times but did not pass judgment. Instead, he said, So Sa sent a messenger to Shaochun again. Back then, Yuan Zigong vowed that after Yuan Shu was destroyed, you would assist him in taking down Yuan Shao. Was there such a promise? Yes, Zhou Yu said. But Zigong has changed his mind. Huanggai said, the central plains have been subject to continued torrential rains, and it is impossible to travel through this mud. Yuan Benchu and Somend have gathered their armies for a decisive battle in Guandu, and the two armies have been fighting for many days. Yuan Shao's seasoned troops numbered 100,000, and he sent out basically his entire force. His army's supplies are stored in Huacheo. Somend has sent 3 envoys already, requesting supporting troops from me, asking me to lead my men in ambushing Huacheo. There are less than 3,000 soldiers in Shaochun, Huanggai added. We have no men. Do as you see fit. Zhou Yu sighed and replied, Danyang only has 1,600 guardsmen. Where can I go to find more troops to send? Bafo has already said that he will not send troops out to assist, so what can I do? Huanggai narrowed his eyes. Back then, you and Somend came to this agreement. Shaochun would belong to Zigong, in exchange for sending out troops to ambush Yuan Shao. As of now, if you go back on your promise and eat your words, how will the people of the world speak of Zigong in return? Whether objectively or subjectively, Zhou Yu said, we must send out troops at this point, based on our previous promise that we made with Menxiong. Plus, if we do not send our troops out now, the first thing that Yuan Shao will do after he defeats So Sa is to turn his troops around and raise the Wu Commandery. But I cannot persuade him, Zhou Yu said. He resents all of my opinions. Huanggai said, if that's the case, then you must fully comprehend whatever consequences that will arise because of this. Zhou Yu took a deep breath but didn't reply. Huanggai added, when a general is on the battlefield, he needs not wait for his lord's order to attack. You are not suited to be a field commander. Zhou Yu knew that this was an evident attempt at goading him into action, and even though he could not fall for his, he couldn't help the rage that flared in his heart at that. Huanggai finished drinking his tea and rose, saying, I need to borrow some rations. There's not much left, Zhou Yu replied. I'll write a slip for you. Send your men to retrieve rations from the granary. Originally, the transfer of rations had to be approved by Sun Sa in Wu Commandery. Everyone else had to listen to him, but Zhou Yu did not, so he immediately wrote out a slip and handed it to Huanggai, agreeing that it would be returned after the early harvest in the coming spring. Huanggai left another letter. It was written in Cao Cao's hand. Zhou Yu looked at it for a while. He remembered Lu Bu, who had been hanged by Cao Cao. For a long time, he couldn't bring himself to say anything. He still remembered that day, when Lu Bu had sent out his troops to chase after them, only for them to run into Zhao Yun below the Hang Pass, who was watering his horse. In the span of a few short years, how quickly their positions had changed. He understood the general gist of why Sun Sa was not sending out reinforcements. To them, Lu Bu had saved their lives, and he had had the emperor award Sun Sa the writ of appointment to the position of General Polu. One always stared upon a high mountain with awe, and though they had often been enemies on the battlefield, Sun Sa and Sun Jian, father and son, viewed Lu Bu with the respect that an adversary deserved. As of now, So Sa had killed Lu Bu. How could Sun Sa let that go? It was already very good that he hadn't taken So Sa's son's life in repayment for Lu Bu's. But just as Huanggai left, Sun Quan arrived. Zhou Yu never thought that Sun Quan would come in person, and he was a little at a loss for how to react. What did your brother say? When Zhou Yu saw the people from Wu Commandery, he couldn't help the anxiety that bubbled up in his heart. He didn't say anything, Sun Quan said in reply. Gongjinda Ji, I came for Xian's sake. Sun Quan brought a letter with him, and Zhou Yu really had no way to argue against that. So Sa's army was stuck in a bitter battle, and in this battle of Guandu, if he did not win decisively, he would lose decisively. He had no leeway to speak of. Currently, Yuan Shao was more powerful, and if they did not ambush him from behind, So Sa would probably become nothing more than history. And So P was also at his wits' end, so he had sent Sun Quan a plea for help. This time, he had been very clever. He had circled around Sun Sa, instead telling Sun Quan to bring the letter directly to Zhou Yu. If Yuan Shao wins, Sun Quan said, then his next step will be to turn his forces on Jiangdong. We'll be in danger then. Even if he hadn't said that, Zhou Yu knew. I only have 1,600 men, Zhou Yu said. Mobilizing the troops without permission is taboo. Have you asked your brother yet? Does your brother know that you've come to Danyang? He doesn't know, Sun Quan replied. I snuck out. Look, I stole his command tally. Zhou Yu had been soundly defeated by Sun Quan. He'll beat you to death. Zhou Yu said. But just then, someone else requested an audience outside. It was a messenger that So Sa had sent, who was bringing Lu Bu's coffin, along with a letter from Cao Cao. Zhou Yu immediately had the men leave the coffin temporarily outside the city. He then asked if the news had traveled to Wu County, but the messenger replied that by Cao Cao's command, it had first come to Danyang, for Zhou Yu to arrange for as he saw fit. Zhou Yu read the letter in the hall, only to see that the letter was dripping with bloody tears. So Cao's grief overflowed between the lines, and in the end, he even pinned Lu Bu's death onto Liu Bei's head. Not one word mentioned requesting assistance or forging an alliance, so Zhou Yu could only send some men to take the letter to Wu Commandery, while he himself personally went out of the city to honor the deceased. It was truly a pity that Lu Bu, a fierce and powerful hero, had nowhere to rest after his death. Zhou Yu cried his eyes out in front of the coffin, and after he and Sun Quan kowtowed, selected a date for Lu Bu to be buried. He would be buried in Danyang first, and in the future, after his bones were picked out, the ossuary would then be moved to Bingzhou. When will you send out the troops? Sun Quan asked. I cannot, Zhou Yu said. Otherwise, I'll anger your brother. We must first come to an agreement with him on this. Sun Quan replied, he won't agree. You have no idea what Wu Commandery has turned into. What has it turned into? Zhou Yu asked. He doesn't listen to anyone, Sun Quan said. A few days ago, he killed a good number of people. Zhang Zhao could not stop him, and Lu Su was not willing to persuade him. Who? Zhou Yu asked. Sun Quan did not reply, and Zhou Yu guessed that it was most likely the rich aristocrats in the Wu Commandery region. After a while, Sun Quan continued, the people of Kuiji who were unhappy with his rule. How many did he kill? Zhou Yu asked. There was no news from Danyang, so Zhou Yu figured that it had been kept very secret. Sun Quan replied, he killed those who were friends with the perpetrators as well, so I don't know how many he's killed. Supposedly the banks of Lake Tai have been dyed red. Zhou Yu's mind went blank, and he felt as if the world was spinning around him. He asked, why? Sun Quan said, Lu Zijing said that he did it because of the issue that arose with borrowing rations from Kuiji the year before, so he sharpened his knife on Lu Yao's family. I think that he's simply in a bad mood, and he wants to kill people. Zhou Yu said, I'll send a letter over there. You must not be rash. Sun Quan, if we don't send troops now, Xian will be in danger. I'll try to do it as quickly as I can. With worries weighing down his heart, Zhou Yu went back into the study, lifting a brush to pen Sun saw a letter. Just as he was about to send it off, however, he found that Fiyu was not by his side. It had been more than 3 months since he had left the Wu Commandery and arrived at Danyang, and he had not brought Fiyu with him, so Zhou Yu could only send a courier at top speed. Thankfully, the two locations were not far, and on a fast horse, that distance could be covered in a day. End chapter.